Devastating storms rocked the state of Oklahoma last night. We have the coverage. Popular OU student housing marks a hot spot in the storm's path. We're live at the scene. And an Oklahoma football player's home is damaged. Hear how his teammates are helping him through it. This is OU Nightly.
Campus. So this is on its way. It is on your doorstep. So get inside right now if you are on the OU Norman campus.
OU Nightly makes history as Norman takes cover for tornado warnings. Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Jimmy Wicks.
And I'm Amaya Ward. A historic night last night as OU Nightly became the first collegiate newscast to broadcast live tornado warnings for its campus.
And today we're getting a look at the damage what is being called a major tornado outbreak across Oklahoma. Here's what we know right now. One person died in the storms in Roger Mills County, that is in western Oklahoma. 12 people are recovering from injuries after going to Norman Regional's emergency rooms last night. We know dozens of structures in Norman were damaged, including homes, businesses, and schools across the state. The Storm Prediction Center reports that there were 7 tornadoes in 6 counties.
Many of those buildings damaged are home to OU students.
OU Nightly's Dana Searles is live at the Ave Apartments on 12th Street. Dana, I heard it was hit pretty hard.
I am out here at the Ave Apartments that were significantly damaged from last night's storm. I'm going to step out of the way here and show you guys some of that damage that happened. As you can see right here, this fence is completely blown out with fence boards all over the ground, and that is insulation all over the ground. And that was what this whole residence looks like. And now if you look up here at this house right here, you can even see that the roof has fallen out and pieces are completely everywhere. And pieces like this one are seen all over this area in these apartment complexes on the ground. And I came out here after the storm to speak to residents and ask them about their experiences. Broken car windows, fallen trees, and crews working to fix the damage, all from the storm that ripped through Norman last night.
It was very scary. Things were flying, I heard alarms. It was a lot going on.
And one hot spot of the storm, a popular apartment complex for OU students, the Ave Apartments.
The residents were very loud and vocal about what they saw and what they heard. It was really bad. A lot of people were displaced this evening. I talked to 2 young ladies and they actually have to go stay in a hotel due to being displaced this evening.
It was pretty bad. There were street signs that fell off. Some of the fences were broken and I had to kind of walk through that field to get back over here.
A lot of shingles, a lot of people's car windows are gone.
For many of those students, it was their first time seeing something like this.
OMG, I'm in Oklahoma. That was it, the Tornado Alley, what they talk about. I've only been in Oklahoma for a month, so this is surprising.
Now, we do know that some of those residents actually had to be transported to hotels because of how severe that damage was, and we will keep you updated with any repairs that will be being made. Reporting live, Dana Searles, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Dana. Early this morning, our own students joined survey teams from the National Weather Service as they went out to determine the strength of the tornadoes. Meteorologist Catherine Liberta went along. Catherine, a busy day for the teams.
Absolutely, and I'm here in this neighborhood just north of Highway 9 where there is significant tornado damage. There is plenty of debris around me. There are even pieces of roof from these surrounding houses that got ripped off when this tornado came through. There's a storage unit back there that had its roof ripped off and pieces of steel metal were twisted, which just shows how strong this tornado was. Now, the National Weather Service is surveying the damage in Norman today, and I went with them to see how they conduct their surveys and ask them what they're looking for.
Damage, destruction, chaos. Southeast Norman is recovering after last night's tornado ripped off roofs, twisted trees, and pummeled power lines. The Norman Forecast Office of the National Weather Service is currently out surveying the damage to try and create an accurate report on the storm.
The main things that we're looking for here are trying to find the intensity of the damage, but also how long it was on the ground, how wide it was, We try to document it as well as possible.
Going out to observe damage helps meteorologists to confirm radar signatures and images.
We got good confirmation that this indeed was a tornado because some of the power poles, close behind me are blown from north to south, while a few hundred yards, further east, they're blown from south to north. So we can definitely see that there was a circulation, that there was strong rotation.
Because so many streets are closed due to debris, the National Weather Service has to survey by foot in some locations, which delays their process. However, they are determined to collect the most accurate information and provide it to the public.
The National Weather Service is continuing to work on figuring out where exactly this tornado first touched down, but they are confidently saying that they believe this is EF1 to EF2 tornado damage. Reporting from East Norman, I'm Catherine Liberta, OU Nightly.
Thank you, Catherine. Our news were out in the storms as they passed along video last night. Sophomore Victoria Anderson is filing through her very first news package today. She talked to a family in one of the hardest hit homes.
And then I heard the car land up by my house.
For the family of 10, the impact was a surprise, with little time to prepare and little time to evacuate. Amidst the chaos, the smell of natural gas filled the neighborhood. Oklahoma Natural Gas and emergency vehicles responded quickly, preventing another potential disaster.
They told us to get out the house immediately because we were basically sitting in a bomb from all the gas leaking.
Cleanup attempts are in full force right now for many houses on Conway Street. But for the Longoria family, the odds are not in their favor.
The family tells me they have no insurance, and as we know, Red Cross and United Way is offering temporary help, but as you can see, there's a long road ahead for this family. In Southeast Norman, Victoria Anderson, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Victoria, again for her very first news story on OU Nightly. Currently, the Longoria family is creating a GoFundMe page for support during this difficult time, but for now, Red Cross and United Way are both accepting donations for storm victims.
Not too far from Conway Drive, another Norman neighborhood is picking up the pieces. OU Nightly's Olivia Day continues our team coverage tonight. Olivia.
Yeah, Amaya, for homeowners like the ones of the houses destroyed right behind me, it's hard to see a silver lining in the scenario when pieces like this are scattered around the neighborhood. But there is a silver lining in this story, at least in Norman. No severe damage, no severe injuries, and the neighborhood is coming together to help each other out. Take a look.
This is devastation. I've never seen anything like this.
That's the sentiment coming from neighbors in the area the tornado hit last night. Not all were watching the weather.
We wasn't given much warning. It just she came running out of bed and said, Gigi, the alarm had just went off. And as soon as she came in, it just the window busted.
Yeah, we were quite scared. I mean, to me it sounded like a train going by.
After the storm passed, it was neighbors who first extended helping hands.
After everything, no more warning and everything, they came and knocked on everybody's door, and that touched my heart. They're good people.
This morning, after the shock of the storm, the new challenge of cleaning up really starts.
I'm going to start with taking pictures, getting the insurance company involved, and cleanup starts today, I guess.
Today, as residents sweep through the debris, they are thankful.
I just thank God for the fine law enforcement, fire department, linemen.
Thankful for their safety and neighbors to lean on.
And we're all just thankful that we're alive and we're here to help each other out.
So the neighbors I talked to said no word on when their power, their hot water, or their gas is getting turned back on. So right now they're just sitting and waiting. Reporting in Norman, Olivia Daig, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Olivia. There are still many roads in Norman closed tonight. Part of the issue is down power lines across the street, making it dangerous to drive. The roads involved are East Robinson Street between 60th Avenue and Southeast and 72nd Avenue Southeast, and Imhoff between Oakhurst and 24 Southeast. Norman City officials are asking for anyone to avoid these areas in order to keep traffic down and allow road crews to repair and do their work.
Road closures, just one of the topics addressed this morning when the city of Norman offered an update. OU Nightly's Dakota McDowell Wapakichi is live near 12th Avenue and State Highway 9. Dakota, this was the first time hearing from these officials after the tornadoes hit.
Yeah, that's right. Many organizations and people like the chief of police told us about those road closures, but they also told us that there were 12 injuries. None of them were life-threatening, and there were no fatalities. We learned that many of the injuries were treated at the new Norman Regional location about 2 miles from where I am right now, which just opened late last year. We also learned from OG&E, United Way, Norman Fire. They all talked about recovery efforts, and they are still working on certain areas in Norman. Emergency response crews had their hands full last night as the emergency line was ringing with calls from all over the city.
We had pre-planned to have extra communications officers there last night due to the potential for this severe weather. And when I went down there each time, it was extremely busy. Call after call after call on every line that we had open.
Now, Reagan and Washington elementary schools were closed today because of the storm. A school spokesperson tells me that they don't know if the two schools will reopen tomorrow. We'll keep you updated as this story develops. Reporting live, Dakota McDowell-Wapakichi, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Dakota. Our OU Nightly weather team did an outstanding job covering the storm last night.
And they're back at it tonight, reporting on damage and taking a look at the storm's path, not to mention forecasting another round of storms for Oklahomans.
Let's get it over to OU Nightly senior meteorologist Colton Williams. Colton?
Yeah, that's right, guys. Hey, good work as always from all of our OU Nightly teams out today covering what did turn out to be somewhat of a historic event here across central Oklahoma and for Norman as well. Yeah, like you guys said, it was a busy night last night. We've been back at it again today, covering some damage, some more shots of what you can see here across Norman. So I'll start you off here. This is at Cross Point Church. This is near Highway 9 and 24th Avenue. This is the steeple to that church. And look at that. There it is, blown into the trees and on the road. Now, this is the neighborhood near where Catherine and Olivia are hanging out right now. And again, you see that storm damage quite extensive there to some of these homes. The National Weather Service is calling this high-end EF2 damage, potentially into the EF3 range as well. And yeah, whenever you can see the individual rooms of a home from above the home, you know that now you're dealing with damage that's quite significant. And this is the reason why Highway 9 was closed today. This power line, though you can't see it from this view, is actually laying on top of the road here. It fell down on top of the road as well as caused a lot of damage near this on-cue here over this intersection as well. And that's what caused these traffic problems. This was about 8:30 this morning. You see traffic backed up from miles here from Norman going back towards Noble. So traffic problems there. One part of this storm, and again, you heard us last night talk about this is what's called a QLCS storm, and essentially this radar screen grab could basically be from Oklahoma last night. And though these may just look like a line of storms, when you kind of peel back the layers and you dig deep in there, you can start to see this is what we had in Norman yesterday. Not only did the bow echoes produce wind gusts upwards of 100 miles per hour in some parts of Oklahoma, our Norman tornado came out of what was called an inflow notch on the leading edge of a QLCS line, and essentially you can see there, it doesn't look so intimidating on radar, but it certainly can cause some damage. Okay, so coming up, we're going to break down more of what happened last night, as well as then forecast for a brief cool down, maybe even a little bit of winter weather, and then springtime conditions, they're going to return. We're going to have all that coming up in just a few minutes. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Colton. Back to our team coverage of damage now. The neighborhood next to Reagan Elementary in southeast Norman received a significant amount of damage. One house in particular, a total loss of the storm last night. OU Nightly's Katani Gooch spoke to Frances Tabler, who says she feels blessed today.
That's right. Pieces of the roof of this house are scattered all over the yard. The woman that lives here with her 3 grandkids says it's a miracle they walked away almost untouched.
Literally everything's gone.
A grandmother and her 3 grandkids trapped inside her collapsing home.
And I was trying to call 911 as it's going on, you know, to get somebody to help us because we were literally trapped inside the house.
Part of her roof now in the middle of the street.
Oh my God, we have no roof, you know, like how did we survive this?
Taylor says she told her grandkids not to move as they huddled in what was left of their hallway.
Wires everywhere.
Waiting for anyone to come pull them out.
It seemed like it took a long time for someone to get this out.
The street has been cleared since the destruction that occurred here last night, and neighbors and other members of the community are helping clean up more debris across the neighborhood. Reporting in Norman, Oklahoma, Katani Gooch, OU Nightly.
Following the storm, Tabler is now staying at the Red Cross Relting Shelter. Red Cross Central Oklahoma is helping Oklahomans impacted by last night's storm.
To those who need assistance or a place to rest, head to 1701 12th Ave Northeast for a rest shelter.
So if people are coming in, it's because they need some power, they need some light, they need some snacks, they just need a little comfort, a little moment to take their breath. We've got some other community partners that are inside, the Norman Health Department, a couple of other organizations.
For those who need help, call 1-800-RED Cross, which will direct you to Norman Services. To those who want help, text Red Cross to 9099 to make a $10 donation.
With last night's storm, there have been many without power outages across Norman. OU Nightly's Parker Abels has more.
With winds reported of around 110 miles per hour last night blowing through power lines, power outages became a big concern around Norman.
So at the height of the storm last night, we had about 9,000 customers without power. We've got that down to about 3,000 as of 8:30 this morning.
Since the storm took place, OG&E has been across the city and state with a large crew working until everyone's power is back.
For this storm event, we have approximately 2,500 personnel, but we have hundreds of people here in the Norman area focusing on getting our customers' power restored quickly and safely.
Many residents were caught off guard when the power went out and couldn't prepare for the tornado and were unable to reach shelter.
The power went out and then the tornado hit. So we didn't have time to take cover or anything, but the power was out until about 4:15 this morning.
And with many power lines being down like they are on the other side of this sign, it's made it difficult for people to get around and even help out their neighbors.
We drove last night in the neighborhood to see if anybody needed any help. And we couldn't get out of the neighborhood because we had a chainsaw crew at one entrance to the neighborhood, and then the power lines were down on Lindsay.
Reporting from Norman, Parker Abels, OU Nightly.
OG&E is continuing to work on damaged power lines across the state as thousands are still waiting for their power to be restored.
Some apartments around Norman took damage control into their own hands, asking workers to reroute traffic. Even with that move, some students were stuck and not able to get home last night. OU Nightly's Brooklyn Sweet talked to some of them.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get back to my apartment last night, so I had to stay at a friend's house. A power line actually fell where the entrance was, so I wasn't able to drive in or drive out. So now there's a gate open between the apartment next to us and our apartment that we can leave and get out of.
We had to cut the bolts off. Yeah, we had to cut the whole entire log things off. They even opened them last night to let people in and out because of that situation.
Brooklyn Sweet, OU Nightly.
The entrance to Alight 12th will be closed until further notice. Residents are advised to use the gate through the Ave.
Central Oklahoma wasn't the only area that experienced severe weather last night.
See how our neighbors across the state handled the storms coming up.
And like other Norman businesses, the postal facility took a direct hit. We'll check out the damage when OU Nightly continues.
Did you know that trash, like plastic bottles and fast food wrappers, can carry germs and bacteria? When these items are tossed in the street, they eventually find their way to a river or lake and have a negative impact on aquatic life. Keep our waters clean by putting your trash in the bin. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater. Did you know that items like paint, cleaning solutions, pesticides, solvents, and other chemicals are considered household hazardous waste? These chemicals are dangerous to our environment and water quality when they are dumped in our storm drains or gutters. Fortunately, the City of Norman has a dedicated household hazardous waste facility where you can properly dispose of these items. Call 405-366-5463 to make an appointment. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
And we know one person died in the storms that hit western Oklahoma last night. Rogers Mills County is about 2 hours west of the Oklahoma City area. Officials there have not yet released the name of the person, but say he was a resident of the town of Cheyenne. We'd like to thank our friends at News 9 for the video you're seeing.
Governor Kevin Stitt commenting about the tornadoes that hit the state, including here in Norman, where the governor grew up. He said, quote, "My heart goes out to the communities impacted by last night's severe weather, especially those hit hardest like Cheyenne and my hometown of Norman." He also thanked emergency response crews who have been working around the clock across the state. Of course, Norman was hit hard, but so were many other communities. OU Nightly's Becca Yanez is in the news center with a look at damage around the state and region. Becca.
That's right. OU Nightly obtained amateur video showcasing storms across Oklahoma and Texas. The metro area was not the only part of Oklahoma affected by last night's storm. The footage in Sayre, Oklahoma was hit with powerful rain, wind, and through the night, lightning colored the sky, and a large flagpole by the American Inn was nearly toppled. More amateur footage in Shamrock, Texas shows just how dangerous these storms were, even west of Oklahoma. You can see here that there's a large wall cloud with visible pouring rain, debris, and lightning in the distance. This shows the impacts of the storm stretching from state to state. News on 6 captured the aftermath of these dangerous storms back here in Oklahoma. One Skiatook family's home was set ablaze, which firefighters say was caused by a lightning strike around midnight. Officials say that thankfully the family managed to escape unharmed. Again, all of this footage shows the lasting large-scale impact of last night's storm. Amaya, Jimmy, back to you.
We have footage of more downed power lines and damage to a local convenience store and gas station. This is on the corner of 24th and Imhoff in southeast Norman. Caution to drivers if you plan to travel near the intersection of 24th and Imhoff. Police are on their post redirecting traffic from the destruction and downed power lines. A Sinclair gas station is now busy with electric crews recovering the damage from the storm. The winds from the storm were so strong that one of the gas pumps completely tipped over. The roof of the convenience store is ripped up and scattered. If you live in South and Southeast Norman, you might want to plan your trips before you leave from work or home to avoid road closures. A local church plans to help out its neighbors in the Norman area.
See how they're helping others while picking up the pieces themselves, coming up on OU Nightly.
And in true Oklahoma fashion, the spring temperatures have switched up again.
OU Nightly meteorologist Colton Williams has the full forecast coming up next. Colton, how long can we expect the sun to stay up?
Yeah, that's right, guys. The one silver lining out of the storm damage today is we've got beautiful conditions. That's switching as we head into the later part of this week. We're going to break all that down coming up in just a few minutes. We'll be right back.
To Sofia and Gabriel. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
The central and midwestern U.S. averages more than 850 tornadoes each year, and lately, the number of floods has been rising in the region too. So chances are, there will be more twisters and floods near here again. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are, you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has all the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
The family's visit to the forest inspired a beautiful question. Mother, mother, am I a tree? You tell me to stand tall. You tell me to stay rooted. I think I am a tree. My child, of course you are. But what kind of tree will you be? The kind to hug or the kind to climb? Doesn't matter what you choose, so long as you choose to be a tree that's kind.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
All right, welcome back to OU Nightly. Thanks for joining us after a long night last night. Today, picking up the pieces, getting all the information into our newsroom about last night's severe weather event. Yeah, it was late February severe weather event. We'll get these from time to time. Last night was rather historic, however. We did see 7 tornadoes across 6 different counties statewide. Of course, it started out in the Texas Panhandle, spreaded northeastward here into the central part of Oklahoma, where you see the majority of the tornadoes existed, including, of course, 1, potentially 2 tornadoes here across Norman. So right now, we know that the tornado that was reported southwest of Tuttle has sustained a mid-range EF1 damage, whereas then the Norman tornado, which, by the way, could be tornadoes, which whether or not it lifted and sat back down once again, still damage crews are out assessing that, as you've seen throughout the show. At some portions created damage that was at least high-end EF2, potentially EF3, then a couple more here in Pottawatomie County near the Shawnee area, both of those causing some significant damage as well. So again, a busy night last night, especially for it being late February, and it all kicked off out in the Texas Panhandle, and there they went. The warnings, they went up quickly, and this storm, it was getting it as it headed into Oklahoma at times, moving 80 miles per hour. And you see tornado warnings moved into western Oklahoma around the 7 o'clock hour last night. Before then, they marched into the Oklahoma City Metro. By 8:15, we were tracking severe thunderstorm warnings moving into the Oklahoma City Metro. Overall, it was still quiet at the 8 o'clock hour. Before then, it wasn't too long before then, here came our first tornado warning across Norman. That is a classic supercell embedded within a line of thunderstorms there. That is a scary signature to see on radar here, just over Norman and right near the OU campus. And again, this was at 9:20 last night. We were under tornado warning. Folks took their immediate tornado precautions, thankfully have learned of no deaths in the Norman area. And then this thing eventually continued its race off to the east, like I said, producing a couple more tornadoes before then finally beginning to weaken as it headed into northwest Arkansas. And then we were done with it, okay? But again, that radar signature was fairly significant here. And again, we were covering it live here on OU Nightly for several hours last night. This was coming in real time, but to recap it, this is when we saw really the most, or not the most intense, but some concerning radar signature here. This is what we call a couplet, as it was tracking towards the OU campus. And had this thing lifted just a little more north, we would have been in trouble here on campus. But this is, again, State Highway 9, and here's Interstate 35. All right, and so again, it tracked off to the northeast. This is where it crossed Highway 9. Again, we've seen a lot of video and photos from that today, damaging, here's the Avenue apartment complex, Alight Norman, places like that, before it continued to track off to the northeast. You see, it did intensify, and that's where Catherine and Olivia were today, reporting today, where it became more intense, and it was at its most intense just 1, 2, 3, 4 miles east of Norman. Okay, so again, could have been worse. Overall, though, was, again, of significance late last night, okay? So, again, rolling through some of that video here, this is, again, the drone from the church where the steeple was blown out into the yard. Yeah, that's supposed to be up on top of the church. Very strong winds from that last night. Again, more roof damage from homes across that neighborhood. Okay, now, again, in the way of rainfall, only saw about 1/3 of an inch in Norman, 1/10 in Oklahoma City. This storm was moving too quickly for us to pick up any rain, and right now couldn't be a different picture. Sunny skies out there, and temperatures, they're hanging out in the middle 70s for a lot of us across Oklahoma. The springtime temperatures did return. As I said, it was a silver lining today. The cleanup at least was accompanied by sunny skies and warm temperatures, and the winds have calmed down significantly than they were overnight last night, thankfully. Now here goes that storm system. That's a powerful, once again, a powerful signature as the sun continues to set. it marches eastward here along with the jet stream going on, and you see here in Oklahoma, it has now risen off to the north. This is leading to sunny skies. We're sitting under a considerable amount of high pressure now, thankfully keeping us warm and dry. Okay, so over the next couple of days for your air mass forecast, we're going to stay under that high pressure. This will keep us seasonal, in fact, a little bit above average before then on Thursday and into Friday. Now we see another powerful storm system. This has the potential to bring more severe storms. This time the risk does not include the Oklahoma City metro, but we do have the chance for some wintry precip. Okay, real quick, the risk is most high for severe storms in far southeastern Oklahoma, with some counties, again, in southeastern Oklahoma within a slight risk. But if you see in Oklahoma City and Norman, the Oklahoma City metro is very quiet here for the severe weather risk, thankfully. Okay, but now what we do have the chance for, we just did tornadoes last night. By late week, we'll be looking at the potential for a very cold rain, perhaps a wintry mix, snow flurries out in western Oklahoma. Okay, that's what we're all about here in Oklahoma. We will flip-flop in 3 or 4 days, and that's what we're going to do here over the next couple of days. So as the storm system brews off the coast of California, it's going to move in here into Oklahoma. We'll see again rain and storms. They're going to collect here across Oklahoma before then it expands. We should see some pockets of heavy rain in some locations, hopefully with the potential to see nice rain accumulations from this one. All right, so as we move into our 7-day forecast here, again, looking at the 70s before then, we're going to slowly get into a cooling trend. There comes that strong cold front. We'll be back in the 50s before, hey, this time next week, we're right back in the 70s. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Colton. A local church in Norman is pitching in to help the community devastated by last night's tornado. Cross Point Church is spending the afternoon handing out waters to crew and restoration workers. They will give food away to people in need tomorrow and Wednesday at their church.
Today we're going out in the community, carrying out some water, giving people that are out there working, doing cleanup measures, just essentially so that we can spread the word about being able to feed people in the coming days. We're planning to open our care center to help and assist families.
If you'd like to help out tomorrow or Wednesday, you can arrive at 11 a.m. to distribute meals. They're located on 24th Avenue near Highway 9. There's severe weather that hit in Norman on Sunday last night left lasting effects,
including an impact on the Sooner sports world. Pierce Leffelholtz has more.
A member of Sooner football team was affected by the storm last night. I'll have the details on how people are trying to help the Sooners in time of need right after this.
Prepared as your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane. You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza. Yes.
Make a plan today.
Did you know that items like paint, cleaning solutions, pesticides, solvents, and other chemicals are considered household hazardous waste? These chemicals are dangerous to our environment and water quality when they are dumped in our storm drains or gutters. Fortunately, the City of Norman has a dedicated household hazardous waste facility where you can properly dispose of these items. Call 405-366-5463 to make an appointment. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
Meet the Scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you!
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
I'm Pierce Leffelholtz, and it's time for sports. Last night's tornado damage hit a member of the OU football family. Oklahoma football just posted to its social media accounts that the team confirms that defensive lineman Corey Robertson Jr.'s home was hit by the storm. The team confirms that a GoFundMe account has been set up to help Corey and his family and that his need is real. To find that account, go to GoFundMe and type in the name Corey Robertson. Several Sooners stepped up to help their teammates in his time of need. OU softball finished the Mary Nutter Collegiate Classic Sunday night, where they took on the new #1 UCLA Bruins. Oklahoma rattled off 20 hits and 6 home runs, including this 3-run shot from Kenzie Hansen, her second of the game. Michigan transfer Alex Storako went the distance, allowing only 3 hits and 0 runs on a complete game. Sooners win 14-0 in 5 innings and take their #1 title back. #1 ranked Oklahoma women's gymnastics made history Friday night. The Sooners scored a school record 198.575, including perfect 10s from Kathleen Lavasser on vault and from Jordan Bowers on the floor that you can see there. The celebration is short-lived as Oklahoma hosts the #2 Florida Gators March 3rd in a rematch from last year's NCAA championships. OU women's basketball faced off against the Texas Longhorns in a battle for first place in the Big 12. Liz Scott led the team with 13 points and 9 rebounds, but it wasn't enough as Texas wins 67-45 and takes sole possession of first place. Oklahoma head coach Jenny Baranczyk thinks that this is a make-or-break portion of the year.
You know, to be honest, we got to get a heck of a lot better. And so this is either going to be a really good wake-up call for us. We're going to go one of two directions right now. So if I know the character and I believe of the character of who we are, I think we're going to go in the right direction.
OU men's basketball had lost 6 road games in a row as they traveled to Ames to take on the 23rd ranked Iowa State Cyclones. The Sooners struggled early as this Milos Uzan 3-pointer was OU's first bucket of the game over 5 minutes in. Jacob Groves led the team with 16 points as Oklahoma surged in the second half to win 61-50. OU will play Kansas State next in Manhattan on March 1st. That's all for sports. Stick around for more coverage of a record-breaking storm day right after this.
To Sofia and Gabriel. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Did you know that trash, like plastic bottles and fast food wrappers, can carry germs and bacteria? When these items are tossed in the street, they eventually find their way to a river or lake and have a negative impact on aquatic life. Keep our waters clean by putting your trash in the bin. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
The central and midwestern U.S. averages more than 850 tornadoes each year, and lately, the number of floods has been rising in the region too. So chances are, there will be more twisters and floods near here again. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are, you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has all the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
The family's visit to the forest inspired a beautiful question. Mother, mother, am I a tree? You tell me to stand tall. You tell me to stay rooted. I think I am a tree. My child, of course you are. But what kind of tree will you be? The kind to hug or the kind to climb? Doesn't matter what you choose, so long as you choose to be a tree that's kind.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Weather Service crews continue to survey the damage across Norman and around the state.
Now let's get a quick recap of the coverage today. We do know that 1 person was killed of the 7 tornadoes that hit 6 different counties in Oklahoma, and that death was in western Oklahoma town of Cheyenne.
12 people in Norman were injured, and hundreds of homes, businesses, and schools across the state are damaged. Many roads in southeast Norman remain closed tonight. Police are asking people not to drive around in the hardest hit areas and let repair crews do their work.
We know that 1 OU football player's home was damaged, and the team is working to help with him on the cleanup. He's also hoping for financial help from a GoFundMe account.
And it is situations like that one that prompted the university to send out an email just moments ago. In it, OU acknowledges that there are many members of the OU community impacted by the tornadoes. Faculty, staff, and students should all check their email to get more information.
All right, let's toss it over to Colton Williams to the last check of weather.
Yeah, guys, again, continuing to track damage all across Norman here and across the Oklahoma City Metro. This is video coming in from our partners at NOAA and the National Weather Service. We really appreciate what these guys do for us, these guys and gals, what they do for us during severe weather coverage. You can see, again, this is part of that neighborhood that sustained high-end EF2 to EF3 damage. I mean, power poles tossed like toys, roofs ripped off of houses. Again, when you can see the interior part of the home from above the home, that's bad news for you in terms of tornado damage. So again, brick structures destroyed, wood structures destroyed, the whole 9 yards. This is going to take a bit to clean up. Thankfully, the good news is the forecast quiets down for the next several hours and the next couple of days, okay? So tonight, we're still hanging out in the mid-60s for 7 o'clock. We'll drop down to the lower 50s by 11. Headed into the midnight hours tonight, it'll get a little bit chillier overnight tonight as we will drop back into the low 40s. It'll be breezy overnight. Again, very clear and dry. Thankfully, we are calming down significantly, again, as we go throughout the next couple of days. Okay, so then headed into tomorrow. Tomorrow, once again, going to feel really, really good. Temperatures in the 50s, 60s, and even the 70s once again. Looking for a high of 74 tomorrow. Again, going to feel more like April and May than it does late February. And we're getting ready to kick into early March as that southwesterly wind will return. And as we head into March, thankfully, this is the best news of all, if you ask me, is that we are now in the region of slightly above average in terms of precip as we head into early March. Temperatures, we're going to hang just near the normal to the slightly above average mark with a big area of below average potentially on its way for mid-March. Yeah, we usually get one more round of winter weather by the time March is said and done. So I don't think we're done with this in terms at all, but soon I think we're going to get close to having an above average stretch as well as some nicer temperatures and some good rain coming in as well. Okay, all right, so again, tomorrow, looking at the lower 70s, lots of sunshine. Tomorrow going to feel great. We'll kick off a week in a shallow cooling trend as we head into Thursday. That's when that chance of rain, wintry mix, we're going to keep an eye on this. We'll keep you updated on this. Cold front slams in. It'll feel once again more seasonal headed into the weekend. Again, guys, this time next week, feeling once again in the lower 70s. Spring, it's coming right back next week.
Thanks, Colton. And thank you for watching OU Nightly. I'm Amaya Ward.
And I'm Jimmy Wicks. Be sure to tune in to OU Nightly every weekday live at 4:30. We leave you tonight with a look at the storm damage video that our crews gathered last night.
Meet the Scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for